Hey guys, it's Jazz and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do two cards using the Brutus Monroe Owl Inspiration Box. So this is a card kit box that they make, and they've got several different ingredients, let's say, you'll need to create cards. It's got an owl theme, so it's kind of a fall type color scheme. You got some stickers here, and then a stamp set, cardstock, some embellishments. I love this owl. And I have a separate card using that stamp coming up later. Several really cute sentiments. I love the font in the sentiment set. You got some little wooden buttons, some really pretty orange ribbon, these little orange glitter dots, I guess, owl die, and then these are foilable. So they're toner printed sheets that you put through your laminator with some foil, and you can foil them. And I'm going to use the birch in my both cards today. And I'm also going to use that olive toned cardstock. And then you do get an ink cube too, and this one is green. It's a really pretty grass green shade called Envy. So there's a card kit. I've die cut two owls using some Bristol Smooth cardstock, and then I'm going to go in with some Distress Oxide inks. And I'm going to do one a really strong color, and then the other one will be a little bit lighter. And this one's going to be a little more golden toned with some brown on the edges. And the other one I'm going to do more earthy tone, so a little bit lighter, a little more brown on the second one. So Wild Honey is the more orange toned. Now if you're used to the regular Distress inks, the Wild Honey is more of a golden yellow, but in the oxides it's got more of an orange lean to it. And then some frayed burlap. And I tried to keep this one just on the edges on the first owl, and then I'll do more of a central coloring with the frayed burlap on the second one. And I also use Vintage Photo to get this one a little more brown toned. And you can see all the detail that this die kind of puts into this little owl. And he looks just really cool. Really ornate, really pretty. So there's my two owls. Okay, so this is watercolor deco foil by Thermoweb. The brown one is called Amber, and the green one is called Emerald. And it's got several different shades of greens and several different shades of brown gold tones. So I'm going to use both of these. I'm going to start with the green one. And this one, I'm using some Catherine Pooler inks. These are dye inks, but the foam pad on this is very different. So Distress ink, you're used to being a little drier. These are incredibly juicy. You don't need to tap much, just brush it. And beautiful ink distribution, blends beautifully. And you can see how much ink kind of comes to the surface when I just lightly tap it. So you need to be kind of light-handed with these inks. So just blend over that foil. And those are both done the same way, the same colors. So for my sentiment on the first card, I'm using from the stamp set that comes with the kit. And I'm going to use some Brutus Monroe Gilded, which is gold embossing powder, on some vellum. And I've also put Stick It adhesive on the back of the vellum. And I like the Stick It adhesive on vellum because you can't see it. It turns it into a sticker, but you don't have to use glue dots or tape run or anything that's going to show up. It just makes the whole thing a sticker, and you can cut it into any shape you want, burnish it down, you're good to go. So I'm going to heat set that. And whenever you're using your heat gun, this is especially true for vellum because it warps so easy. You want to let your heat gun run for 30 to 60 seconds so it gets good and hot before applying it to your paper. So what I did with this is I used 2 stitch rectangle dies and cut out a frame in this olive cardstock for this one. And then we're going to make a shaker card of this. So I've got some acetate that I cut to fit the vellum or the frame. And then I'm using my craft knife to trim that as close to the edge as I can. Now it doesn't look pretty, but we're going to put the oil over the cut edge, owl, over the cut edge so you won't see that. And for these branches, I took some wood veneer paper by Bark. I believe this is the cherry colored one. It's real wood, and they take a big planer and cut very thin sheets of it so that you can run it through your die cut machine and cut just about any die shape you want out of it. And it's really cool, but I also thought it fit perfectly with the theme of this card kit. With the owl and the trees, why not add some actual wood accents in there? So I also put some stick-it on the back of the wood veneer cardstock before I die cut it so that it's a sticker and you don't have to worry about trying to get glue along those tiny little intricate lines without it squeezing out everywhere. So I've got some Tombow Monte Multi. Then I'm going to add just some tiny little dots behind our owl. And then we're going to lay him down on our card front. And to make the shaker front, I just took 3M foam tape, folded it on itself so it's double thick, trimmed it in thirds, and then added it to the back of the olive cardstock. So here I'm assembling the shaker piece. And I've got some sequins from Little Things and a pretty pink posh in there. And then I will adhere that to a card base and the card is finished. I love how that foil looks. And that one's using the amber foil. So for our second card, we're going to use same vellum, same stick-it, same sentiment set. This is a different sentiment. And I'm going to trim the bottom of this vellum off. And we're going to heat emboss that using some Brutus Monroe penny, which is copper, embossing powder. So just taking my paintbrush there and getting off any spare little bits that I don't want. So I've heat set that, trimmed it down, and now we're going to attach our owl to the panel. And this panel is going to be using the emerald watercolor foil. So use the black for a minute to kind of help that glue dry for a second. The Tombow Monte Multi dries really fast, so you don't need to worry about letting it sit overnight or anything. So I tried to use the grid lines on my mat to line this up so that it was straight. And then, so I burnished that on the back so I don't leave any marks in the vellum in the front. And then just trim off the little edges, little side tabs with my scissors. And so I've got score tape along all four edges of that. And then I'm going to use some tape runner in the middle. Now what this does is the tape runner is just not nearly as sticky as the score tape. So if you lay it down crooked and you need to lift it up by having just a little bit of tape runner back there, it adheres it down if you need it, but it allows you to pick it up, take it back off, and reposition it without ruining the cardstock underneath. And I'm using the olive cardstock that came with the kit for this background too. So now I'm removing the backing paper from the score tape and brushing that down a little bit. And then I'm going to go in with more of the branches and kind of arrange them around the sentiment. And this does disguise the vellum a little bit, the edges of the vellum a little bit, but I don't mind it. So adding the rest of my little branches there, and then I'm going to trim off those edges that are hanging out. And then I will do the same score tape and tape runner to adhere that to the card base. And just to make it easier when it's down on the card base, I lift up the corners, the ends of the score tape to make it easier. I did have just a sliver of cream showing, so I end up trimming that off with my scissors. But no harm, no foul. And that pretty much finishes up the card. So I've got 2 pictures at the end, and there was 2 pictures at the beginning of the finished cards. Let me know if you have any questions. I really love these card kits from Brutus Monroe. These printable or foilable prints are really cool and really useful. So let me know what you think. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers, and I've got something cool in mind for when I do hit that magic number. So thanks for subscribing. I really appreciate it. We'll catch you guys later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.